Okay, guys, alternate ending. Take 43.
With so many movies on the net and TV, it's kinda hard being up and film savvy. Do you catch a show while you're on the go? And how do you know what to keep or what to throw? How do you know what to keep or what to throw? Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Now! Please give a warm welcome to the hosts of Alternate Ending.
Welcome to Alternating. We're discovering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I'm film school dropout Robert Jarosinski. Across from me is our casual moviegoer Carrie Jarosinski and our very own critic in residence Tim Brayton. With Spider-Man web slinging into theaters this week, we take a look at our top 5 superhero movies.
I'm glad that you're audibly laughing at yourself because nobody else in this room is.
This has been like
puns are bad. 3 weeks. Bad people tell them.
3 weeks straight now. I've done it, and I'm going to try to keep incorporating them.
All right,
I've got one for next week already primed. I feel like you guys are trying to poison me for my puns because I just ate a plate full of moldy cheese. But thankfully I had...
What do you mean?
It's moldy. Moldy cheese.
The mold was very carefully cut off for you. I saw this happen. Like a child who does not want to eat a sandwich with crusts. Your wife very patiently carved out the mold. B, do you know what cheese is?
Can she carve out the image from my eyeballs of witnessing it?
Do you know what cheese is?
Pasteurized milk.
It is mold.
Cultured milk?
It's mold, Rob.
It is moldy milk held in suspension by the sheer quantity
everybody
of mold.
cuts off the mold until
that's
you
not what everybody does.
That's what everybody does.
Do you know what makes blue cheese blue? Mold. It is blue mold.
It's mold, Rob.
It is tasty, wonderful, sour blue mold.
See, but you guys are, and Carrie and I have debates about this all the time. I'm the type of person, I don't want to see mold on my cheese. Even if you're cutting it off, like I know it was there, and then I have this fear that it's infiltrated the rest of the cheese. It's the same thing with like Best Buy dates. Like I want to raid the fridge every week, and I want to check the dates, and I just want to talk.
Best Buy dates. Well, this is your refrigerator that is doing this too.
I have to deal with this. I have to sometimes I have to dumpster dive. I have to go into the garbage and be like, hey, this sauce, this salad dressing does not go bad. And Rob immediately, he has a spreadsheet of expiration dates, and he's like, yep, the blue cheese dressing's going away. There goes your balsamic. It's vinegar.
Why would they put it on there?
To make you throw it away before it needs to be thrown away, so you need to buy more.
It's just like medicine. Medicine doesn't really expire.
If it's not best, then it's only maybe good. And I don't want it.
It's a made up number. It's just what is a good number? 10 months from now is a good number, and they put it on.
So is there a difference?
If it is a product that came out of a living animal and is sold in the dairy counter, it can go bad, and it will not go bad until about a week after the day that's on it.
So is that
and you can tell. You can tell when milk is bad.
Is there a difference between expiration date?
Yeah, it tastes like sour cream.
Best Buy date?
Use it as sour cream.
Expiration date, Best Buy date?
Expiration date is the date at which theoretically could make you sick. Best is the date at which the flavor, in theory, will have peaked and will now start tasting.
I want peak flavor.
But it's made up.
Vinegar.
It's fake.
But you said it's peak flavor.
It's what they say because they cannot, in good faith, say that a bottle full of acid, which is all that salad dressing is, will go bad.
Well, it's interesting because I actually have a separate secret waste bin where I toss things because I know Carrie's methods now that she's always checking the garbage can for. So yeah, I have a secret waste bin.
What do you do?
I just do you just
squirrel away rotten food underneath your car? What's going on?
I'm leaving for work. All right. When I just go into the fridge and start looking at dates of things and. You don't notice. You don't notice that things are gone.
I notice. I thought you ate those things.
No, I don't eat it. Not if it's gone past the Best Buy date.
I feel my heart racing. Are
you sure that's not
I'm never leaving this house ever again.
Wasting food is a sin, Robert.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully, I had 108 proof absinthe that you brought us, Tim, to sterilize the moldy cheese that I ingested.
You are trying to make it okay that you throw away perfectly good food.
Don't change the subject,
by
Rob.
complimenting me. I think was that a compliment, or were you complaining that I'm getting you drunk?
I'm not. It hasn't taken a lot. I have a tiny quarter ounce pour, and it's getting to me. I feel the heat.
So I did bring them some absinthe, some lovely aromatic.
It's strong.
It's a spirit. It's meant to be strong. But this really lovely sipping absinthe from Madison's, not owned because it's not in Madison, but in the area. Rob is making a fake face.
Yeah. No, it's not a fake face. Well, you educated us on how to drink it. You're supposed to let it just touch your lips.
Have little tiny bird dips.
Yeah,
spirits. You don't pound back a spirit. You sort of pull some into your mouth and let the aroma just percolate through the vapor.
The upside is you're not going to have to use that thing that you usually use, that little nose trimmer thing anymore because it just burned it off.
Sears it right off there.
Sears it right off. So there's upsides to this stuff.
It's not pleasant, Tim. It's not pleasant. Does not go down smooth.
Well, then you can pour yours into my glass because I find it to be very pleasant.
Rob's a backquasher. Yeah,
so you are A, not enjoying my liquor, and you B, throw away perfectly good food.
Just a terrible human being all around. All around. Well, should we talk some movies, guys?
We should.
All right, let's get into worth mentioning. What is the worth mentioning segment of the movies we've seen since the last episode? Which are the ones we want to talk about? They could be great movies. They could be terrible. We talk about them either way, whether you like it or not. How many movies, have you seen since our last episode? Did
3?
Something just died? Your computer just died?
No, I was just trying to remember how many movies I'd say. 3.
3's a good number. How did I only end up with 2?
Oh, I only saw 2. I think I lied.
All right,
I thought you were going to do the thing where you said 10 and I was going to up mine a little bit.
You're just a liar.
I just lied.
Tim, how about you, buddy?
I don't know. I've seen some.
You just seen handful?
Been in preparation for this night / also in preparation for the new Spider-Man. I've been rewatching some Marvel superhero movies. So I watched the first 2 X-Men's, watched the first 2 Spider-Mans. I haven't been keeping count, honestly.
Nice. Oh, were you doing all that in prep for our top 5 superheroes?
I was. I wanted to make sure that I knew which film from each of those series, and I knew that it wasn't going to be X-Men 1, but I wanted to watch X-Men 1 before I rewatched X2 anyway.
Well, we can catch up a little bit on the Spider-Man. Should we jump in? That's one Carrie and I actually caught in theaters, and you have yet to see it.
I have not yet seen Spider-Man Homecoming.
But maybe by the time this, not by the time the podcast airs, but shortly around it, then we'll have your review to complement our thoughts on it. Carrie, what did you think about... We got a babysitter for it.
We did get a babysitter.
We went out for a nice meal. Yeah, we had a nice meal.
It wasn't that. My sister. So it was free babysitting.
Yeah, we barter.
I thought you were going to say it wasn't that nice of a meal.
No, that too. No. We had sushi. We did the sushi, that red sushi downtown Madison. Sure. Really nice. But yeah, we did the sister trade thing. So we watched her kids one night and she watched ours. But yeah, we made it out. And, I read a lot about it, so I was highly anticipating it. I did enjoy some of the other Spider-Man movies, so I expected that it would have a high standard. This one didn't do it for me.
Interesting.
All right.
It didn't do it for me. To me, it was, I don't know, I didn't like the Spider-Man as a lead. He seemed like he should have been a secondary character.
He tends to be a lead in most of the Spider-Man movies.
Well, no, but he was no Tobey Maguire.
No, I have revisited my love affair with Tobey Maguire as a result.
Me too. The whole time I was watching it, I was like, if Tobey Maguire was saying this, I would like this movie.
Really?
Totally. If that was Kirsten Dunst, I would like this movie.
Now a bridge too far. Well, I mean, so it's interesting. I also thought it was just
middle of the road.
Middle of the road Spider-Man. It's low. It may be in the top half of Spider-Man movies.
Yes,
for me.
But keep in mind the 2 of the Spider-Man movies are the Amazing Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man.
I know.
2.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
so being in the top half doesn't mean shit.
It's kind of like right in the middle there. I actually liked Tom Holland. Might be my favorite. The Spider-Man. When I think of the Spider-Man of my childhood, an actual teen playing a teenager. That's who I picture more of his kind of kind of character. So yeah, I didn't mind him. Yeah. For me, I just thought the direction was weak. Some of the CGI stuff was, and I didn't like the friend angle. Like they played the
friends
the Ned
didn't feel like they had a bond,
much.
like they were trying to play up. That didn't seem like they worked very well together to me. And then
too much Robert Downey or too much.
No, I was going to say
Avengers.
Tony Stark seemed. It literally felt like he phoned it in. Like he was there, he'd do a couple lines.
He was phoning it in.
Yeah, I mean, when was the last time that Robert Downey Jr. felt like he was actually trying
the
in
first
any of these
one.
Marvel movies?
No, but he was literally phoning all of his lines in. Like he was on the phone for the majority.
Is that what it is?
That's what he was on the phone.
Oh,
talking to
it just
Peter
felt
Parker.
like it was like, oh, what can I get for $20,000? Oh, I'll give you 7 lines. Like that's what it kind of felt like.
Dear child, do you think he only made $20,000 for that movie?
Well, whatever amount.
Probably like $15 million.
That's his per line.
He literally says nothing, and he isn't animated. He just felt kind of like meh, like this isn't going to do that well because it's not Tobey Maguire, so I'm just gonna meh. So
and surprisingly,
he's been mehing through these movies for a long time. He met through the Avengers 2. He met through Civil War.
Yeah, I think the same. This is particularly meh for him.
And I think it has 10 credited writers, which is never a good sign. And John Watts, I mean...
Some of those are going to be contractual, though,
sure.
Just like people Sony hired for drafts of movies that never got made.
And John Watts, I don't know what you thought. I mean, he's limited experience. Cop Car really is the only feature film, which I haven't seen. But to go from that to this, there were some tender, nice things. Like
there were a
some
couple things,
funny.
Yeah.
Like I remember laughing a little bit.
At the end, it felt like it picked up a little bit for me.
it's one of those bad superhero third act kind of things that I've just come to deal with.
When was the last time a superhero movie ended well, like legitimately? Logan.
I was just going to say Logan.
Before Logan. Because Logan is the answer to everything I have to say. Not counting Logan, how long has it been since one of these has had a good third act?
Yeah, it's hard for me to even go back.
Yeah. I have a quick question, too. So I thought that when he becomes Spider-Man, he gets bit by the spider, and then I thought, doesn't the web come out of his skin?
There are different versions of the origin story.
But that's what happened with Tobey Maguire.
That's what happened with Tobey Maguire. It is not what happened with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
So how do you change? That's a huge thing for it to be part of your suit versus part of your body, I would think, as a part of the story. So how do you change something that's so integral, I think, to the character? I
would actually probably, I'm not a Spider-Man expert. I think him using extrinsic web shooters is more traditional. Like, I think when he was first written as a character, having his own webs was not part of his skill set. I think that was later.
And it also lends itself to him being, because he's pretty smart and scientific and, science geek too, and to make his own kind of web concoction added to the fun of it. I just wasn't.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton.
I'll be curious what you think
it'll
about
be interesting to read your review following.
I'll probably love it. Best film of the summer. Best Marvel film ever.
Well, I hope so, because it is my number 3 top 5 anticipated.
Your list is clattering pretty badly at this point.
At least I'm being honest, right, Care? At least I'm being honest about the movies, my own movies that I picked.
What do you mean?
I feel like there's some objectivity lost with you about your top 5 anticipated.
Wonder Woman, you mean?
No, that's solid. That's solid.
What do you mean about what was my other one?
Book of Henry.
Book of Henry. That could have been better. I won't disagree there, but it was better than Spider-Man.
Just a little factoid. You might hear a voice in there with Spider-Man in his suit. It is the voice of Jennifer Connelly, the wife of Paul Bettany, who was the voice of
the suit
of Jarvis. So a little bit of fun there. So when you're listening, see if you recognize Jennifer Connelly's voice.
I think if Jennifer Connelly walked into this room and I was blindfolded, I might not be able to recognize her voice.
It's not a very distinct voice.
No.
Yeah.
But what if you just got one shot of her eyebrows? Would you know?
I might.
She does
have eyebrows.
Yeah, there are eyebrows.
You just need the
one.
I
would know.
Is there an eyebrows, or is it just the one?
That's terrible. I would just know from her eyes. I think she has very good eyes.
She has very distinctive eyes.
But yeah, where would you recommend that people see this in theaters, or is it
it's grand. It's a summer movie. It's meant to be seen in theaters. It's just not. It's not my favorite. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Excited that he is Spider-Man. Loved what he did in Civil War too. He added that comedic element. Spider-Man's supposed to be a funny teenager, in talking to himself while during fight scenes making bad puns like I do. Except his are actually funny.
Now you're comparing
yourself.
Your childhood favorite Spider-Man.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it wasn't my favorite Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, not going to make my top 5. I'll be upfront saying that.
All right.
What about you, Tim? What movie before we get back to me?
Well, I'm gonna do something a little bit differently for my worth mentioning this time around. Ordinarily, we use it to mention a film that we've seen that we want to talk about. I'm gonna mention a Blu-ray that hasn't even come out yet, but it's superhero related. So I thought, well, might as well bring it up. I've been waiting for this movie to come out on high definition for years now. The movie is Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, which I'm gonna say right now, so there's no tears later on. Not in my top 5. For reasons that we will discuss when we get to our top 5s. That being said, I adore it. It is a great movie. It is, to me, the essence of what makes a great Batman story. And Warner Archive last week announced that they were releasing it on Blu-ray. So you can buy it on Amazon. You can go to Warner Archive and buy it. But it's so good. And I don't know, have either of you seen this movie, Mask of the Phantasm?
I have not. I mean, you're breaking a lot of hearts, Tim. I hope you know that. You're breaking a lot of hearts.
I know. And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when we get to that point. But it's a spin-off of the Batman animated series from the early 90s, which is my favorite incarnation of any superhero, like that animated series. And it's just a really good, it's got a bit of origin story in it, but that's not what it's doing. It's much more about character in a way that just none of these movies are. And so it's good, and you should buy it because it's on Blu-ray and it's going to be pretty as hell because it is a very pretty series. So.
I should check it out. I loved I grew up with, I guess we all kind of grew up with the Batman animated series. I love the voice actor who plays him. I'm blanking on his name.
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin
Conroy, and of course the great Mark Hamill as Joker, who is Joker is in the movie Mask of the Phantasm. So if you haven't seen it, probably don't blind buy it because it's a lot of money for what amounts to a 70-minute long film. But if you have seen it, you know it's great, and you should get it because it's in high def. And we love animation in high def because it looks so much better. And you can get a shirt if you pre-order it. I pre-ordered it through Amazon to make it cheaper. So, but if you pre-order it through Warner Archive, you get a shirt.
All right.
Good tips.
Well, we also had a movie selected as part of our Sundance jury package. Ann Urell picked Feed the Fish for us as part of her reward care. So you and I sat down and watched 2009's Feed the Fish, hour 32 minutes. IMDb gives it a 6.0. No Rotten Tomatoes because it does not have enough.
It's a smaller movie.
It's a smaller movie, definitely.
It was made for $240,000.
Oh, you brought some.
That is a cheap movie.
Yeah, it was cheap.
That is less money that it cost Robert Downey Jr. to say 2 syllables.
Probably so. You know what was cheaper though? The people that liked the movie that only spent $2,463 on opening weekend to see it. It didn't do particularly well.
I'm surprised it had like a formal opening.
I wonder if it was a limited open though. Or something. I don't know.
So what you have here is you have it directed by Michael Madsdorf, who really known more as a part of the editing group or as an assistant editor on films like Fight Club, Meet Joe Black, 13 Hours. So 15 credits of assistant editing or being part of the editorial department. And I think he grew up in Wisconsin. I think he's from Green Bay.
Oh, cool.
And wanted to make a movie about Wisconsin. And Ann Urell, our Patreon, obviously from Wisconsin as well too. So this probably felt very much like at home in this movie.
Felt very Fargo to me.
Fargo's not in Wisconsin.
It's northern though. It's all the same.
How did it feel like Fargo?
I mean, it had like a Fargo tone.
No.
There was snow.
No, just because of the snow.
Insofar as it is set during the snow.
I feel like a lot of people would say bag. Hey, like, can I get a bag?
Okay.
In both of these movies.
All right. Yes, I would not compare it to Fargo other than the fact that there was snow on the ground. That is about as far as it goes as far as
I haven't seen Fargo in a while.
No, it's living in Wisconsin, it's fun to actually see some things. So it's I'll set it up. It follows the journey of the main character, Joe Peterson, a burned out children's book writer. He wrote a very well received kind of first book, and he was going to make it into a series, and has just had writer's block the last 3 years. Lives in California with his snotty girlfriend, and he just wants a little bit of a change. His perhaps soon to be brother-in-law, or the brother of the girlfriend,
of the ex-girlfriend. They break it up. Yeah, they break up when he leaves, right?
Oh yes, that is early on. Yes, and
which is good. She was a snot.
Yeah, she was, and they go
those California types.
Yeah. So he goes. He wants a little bit of a change, invigorate his life. The brother is going to go do the polar plunge in Sturgeon Bay. So we're talking really northern. We're talking
we're talking as northern as it gets. Yeah. Before you're in Canada.
Yeah, UP Canada. I don't know where. I don't really know geography very well. Whatever's north of Wisconsin.
Canada.
So he goes there, tries to find himself, and instead finds Tony Shalhoub, the town sheriff.
Who's the guy from Wings?
He's from a lot of things.
Yeah. Antonio.
We love Tony Shalhoub.
Oh, love him.
Connection there is he was also an editor on Monk. So I'm assuming he called in a couple favors, got Tony Shalhoub. Barry Corbin, who I'm sure you know Tim from War Games, Northern Exposure. Katie Esselton.
No. She's married to that guy Duplass. From Creep.
Oh,
Mark Duplass.
Okay. Yeah. I like her.
She's also from The League. She's the girl in The League, right?
She's the girl from The League. A couple other smaller characters. The lead actor, haven't seen him much.
He's in Stranger Things.
Ross Patridge. Oh, is he? Okay.
Joe Patridge.
Joe Peterson was his character's name. Ross Patridge.
Yeah.
The movie itself, it's a little bit slow go. It's a person who's been in the film industry, never directed before, trying to do a little bit of a passion project, raise some money or fund it himself. It was all right. Good way to pass the time.
So here's what I thought about I wrote to Anne and asked what she was interested in, like what the appeal was to her. And she had said that she was, number one, she was just a big fan of Tony Shalhoub and Barry Corbin. She liked the Wisconsin connection. I think there's something that's appealing about a movie that takes place where you're from and you can identify with the small town feel, depending on where it is. But in Wisconsin, it's that small town vibe. Everybody knows each other. Everybody waves. Everyone's nice. That I think appeals to people. And so she said she liked it for those reasons, that it was a little weird. It is a weird, quirky movie. But
it brings a lot of that Wisconsin flavor to it.
Totally.
There's scenes of the hunters coming on the property and the guy getting freaked out.
He gets his manhood bitten off by a badger, which happens all the time.
Badgers
sounds very Wisconsin.
Very common
happens
here.
all the time.
Yeah. So I think she liked those things. For me, as I was watching this movie, I was thinking to myself, while it wasn't a movie that necessarily appealed to me, what I ran through my mind is your review of What If, that romantic comedy that you tore apart and gave like 0 stars.
I gave 2.5 stars.
Yeah, but your review was really, really critical.
Sometimes you feel inspired.
I know. Sometimes it's good. And I thought I was in the right mood for this. I think if this was something that you stumbled upon and you thought it was really cute and you were in the mood for it, I can see the appeal of it, much like What If I was in the mood for a cute little romantic comedy. So I think this appeals if you were, just feels like you stumbled upon it. If you were going in thinking you had high expectations that this was going to be great cinema, it probably would let you down.
We should do top 5 micro budgets.
That would be a fun.
That'd be fun because I'd love to, especially from your vantage point, Tim, is what are we supposed to look for that says, oh, you see potential with this director?
Did they fuck up the sound?
I can't.
That's what I look for. If they didn't fuck up the sound, I like it. If they fucked up the sound, I don't.
That's all you care about. That's it.
And I do want to just actually point something out. When you said Ross Partridge's name, it tickled something at the back of my neck, and in a very weird,
that was me.
Wonderful coincidence. His early film Amityville: A New Generation was just reviewed this very week on our site. So it's been just a whole Ross Partridge-a-thon going on at Alternate Ending.
There's always a tie-in. That's great. Remember, you can find more details about all the movies you've watched at our site, alternateending.com. That's alternateending.com. Before we head to our break, you might be wondering about ways to support the show. Direct from our website, you can head to our Patreon page, which provides you access to a ton of perks. You may want to make us watch a movie, have Tim write a review, pick your own episode topic. You can do it all from our Patreon page, just like Mike Garbo, who picked up our Sundance Grand Jury Prize. Entitled, yeah, it's exciting.
Is that the Pick a Movie?
It is the Pick a Movie for Carrie and Rob.
What's the movie?
The movie is, and this was confusing to me, he had said the original The Vanishing.
The Vanishing. Never seen it.
Oh, it's a great movie. Well, I thought the original was the one that I saw, but apparently not.
Remake.
Yeah.
The original is Dutch.
Okay.
Is it subtitled?
It would suck if it wasn't, because you would be very confused.
Okay. That's good.
Unless you speak Dutch. I mean, if you speak Dutch, you can turn the subtitles off.
I had the subtitles on during Train Spotting.
All right.
So it's a good thing that they have it. I can't handle, anyway, much.
Well, we're excited to get to that, Mike. Appreciate you being a valued patron. Also, I want to thank all of our listeners who support the show and make their Amazon purchases through our site. Doing is easy. Just go to our website, alternateending.com, click on our Amazon banner, and seamlessly go about your purchases. All proceeds go to making our show better. Since our last episode, here are the things that were purchased. Also want to let people know, right now, or when this airs, Amazon Prime Day is happening.
What is that?
Tons of deals. This is the 3rd year that I think Amazon has done it, where everything's on sale.
So so make your Amazon Prime Day purchases. Start at alternateending.com, and we will make a small amount of fun of your purchases on the air.
I'm super afraid of this because Rob already has an Amazon shopping problem, so this isn't good.
It's impulse, but it's not like I'm going to see the ad and be like, oh, I need that thing. Like,
it's exactly
it's a different
what
impulse.
you do. This is how we ended up with a thing that like dispenses pills. None of us are even on any medication. The Pilo.
But one day you will be old. And you will be on medication, and you will
need Pilo.
Think very fondly of your husband who died years earlier of eating moldy cheese.
We did have quite a few purchases, so appreciate that. Amazon Instant Video. I've not heard of this movie. Faith Song?
Faith Song. I assume it's a Christian theme movie. I'm not familiar with it.
Also a book, Nicholas Ray, An American Journey.
Oh, I don't know that book, but Nicholas Ray's a good man. Good director.
And then you'll have to help me out here, Tim, with the a few of these I know. A couple DVDs, Ocean Waves, Blu-ray.
Okay, that's a Studio Ghibli film that actually, I forgot just came out on Blu-ray.
Nice. Really Horus, Prince of the Sun.
That someone was buying themselves some anime, because that is by Isao Takahata, the co-founder of Studio Ghibli.
It's so great to have you, Tim.
I know.
Ocean Waves? Nothing? Anything? Maybe it's just...
You already said Ocean Waves.
I did?
So
we had 2 people bought the Ocean Waves.
2 copies of Ocean Waves.
Man, well, it did just come out, and we do know that we have people who like anime who visit our site.
Star Trek: The Trilogy Collection.
Okay.
All right.
And Song to Song, which I think you had...
it's the Terrence Malick film that I like, and a lot of people thought was crappy, but at least one other person liked it enough to buy it, so that's exciting.
Carrie, this one appears to be yours. I know it because it is a edible cake scene for Sing, which I'm sure will just drive Tim crazy.
Edible cake what?
So, because of how well Sing did in the box office, we decided to do a Sing-themed birthday for our 5-year-old. I know you'd appreciate that, Tim.
I'm sorry that you hate your 5-year-old so much that you're willing to admit to it on nationally available...
Credit to them. They have not taken advantage of any of the product you can't buy Sing anything.
There's an appeal of that. It's supply and demand. They're like, hey, we're so good. We're gonna keep such a limited supply so that I paid like $800 for those edibles.
Well, Alternate Ending appreciates it. Thanks, Carrie.
You're welcome.
We also had a large magnetic dry erase calendar for the fridge purchase. You're a big fan of that. I'm like, why don't we just do digital?
No.
Gotta
dry erase. Gotta have tactility. It makes it real.
It did.
If you just enter it in a PDA or whatever the kids use these days, it's not real.
We have to do it like in 4 places now.
Plus, you can't huff a PDA and you can huff dry erase markers.
Do you know how much less gratifying it is when you hit the little like ding on the digital box versus physically checking
so
or
much better.
Scratching
the
a line?
Physical, like it makes it feel good.
It totally.
And if you get mad, you can like really mark it really hard.
Yeah.
And if you can't press your little screen hard or you'll break it.
Totally. Do you do the thing where like, let's say you do a thing, but it wasn't on your list? Will you write it down on your list so that you can check it?
Maybe.
I mean, everyone, you have to. Otherwise, it didn't really happen. Like, if you don't write it down and check it off, it didn't really happen. And this is why you need the magnetic board on your fridge.
You guys have chemistry. You guys have chemistry.
We agree.
Last item.
Once you've finished killing him with moldy food,
Oh, is this the plan? Absinthe and moldy food. It's going to work.
I already have the magnetic board.
We also had a Brone replacement filter for a range hood. I've never thought about this. Are you supposed to change? Like, there's a filter there? Like, I need
I would say that, being aware that it exists and might need to be looked at every now and then is probably not a bad idea.
I think the sign for me when it starts smoking, like
when
that'll
it's
be
smoking, you were supposed to replace the filter 6 months ago.
Well, thank you all.
Put that on your digital list, right?
I'll put it on, yes, or I'll write it on the calendar for a year in advance, which I can't do on the whiteboard calendar.
If you buy 13 of them, you can.
Exactly.
A flip book. Well, thank you all for your purchase. Remember, it's Prime Day, so go out there and shop on Amazon for us. When we get back, our top 5 superhero movies. Welcome back to Alternating. We're talking about our top 5 superhero movies. Care, what makes a superhero movie, in your humble opinion?
In my humble opinion, I'm concerned. I feel like you're setting me up to fail here because I remember having this argument like 10 years ago about how you define a superhero, and I don't think we agreed 10 years ago. I doubt we do now.
This was in our dating. This is how I start most of our dates.
I'm surprised you got married. So that's when you started the long con of slowly feeding him poison food.
The poison cheese, right.
To get someone with his broken idea about superheroes
he
out of the
doesn't know
gene pool.
that Thousand Island, I actually put it in a newer can. It's like 10 years old.
That's clever.
Yeah.
Switch out the Best Buy days.
You thought you had tricks.
Smart.
I've got tricks too, man. I've got tricks too. So for me, here's where I'm going to draw the line, and I'm concerned that you won't agree, but I legit feel like I'm right. There are superhero movies and there are hero movies. So, to be a superhero, you have to have a superpower and be a hero.
I concur with that, although now I feel like you need to define superpower.
So,
is having a super suit a superpower? Is being an unfathomably wealthy industrialist a superpower? All right.
Yeah.
Yes. So, therefore, if you are the Watchman, you are a hero.
But what if you are the Watchman who is a walking nuclear bomb?
They have superpowers. They all have superpowers.
Only Dr. Manhattan.
I love Dr. Manhattan.
Manhattan's the only one with superpowers.
Yeah.
Oh. Right. He's the guy that's the blue guy,
unless,
right?
Like being a pathetic dipshit who's probably bad in bed is a superpower.
Well, doesn't Ozymandias have like super?
No, he's just very smart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, everyone.
He's
has
not
that.
like mutant smart.
Okay.
You can be a mutant because you have powers. That's where you can like disappear. You could blend in. You could have a long tongue like that one.
Yeah, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have problems.
And frankly, this is where I feel like I'm gonna just get thrown at. But you're also Batman. Batman. What does Batman have as a superpower? Other than his nunchucks and his supercar.
This is why I said unfathomable wealth, because that's his power, is being wealthy and extremely reluctant to give up emotional trauma.
I am not a fan of that.
Super traumatized.
So you know what? You know who Batman is to me? He is a hero. And that is where I leave my criteria.
Interesting. That's it. All right, Tim.
Yeah.
Any caveats or anything that you brought to the table?
I had to come up with a lot of, ironically, in fact, I had to come up with a lot of different rules for the primary reason that it would have been very easy for me to write a list that had 4 Batman films on it. And I did not want to do that. So I sort of hemmed and hawed, and for my list, I think the definition of a superhero is sort of a culturally agreed upon construct. So like Batman to me is a superhero, whereas, I don't know, Rambo is not. He's just a good soldier. I also was limiting myself to superheroes who originate in comic books, mostly because we have talked about The Incredibles a lot on this podcast, and I decided I wasn't going to be the one to bring it up this time. I'm sure it will be brought up. And then the other thing I did limit myself to was 1 film per superhero, just to make the list a little bit more interesting, because again, real easy for this to be the Batman Spider-Man show, and I didn't want that. I did massage that rule in one little bitty way, and you'll see that when it comes. And lastly, for no reason other than to disqualify a movie that I love very much, no animation.
Interesting.
And thus, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which is in fact my favorite Batman movie. I just sort of very arbitrarily lopped it off because I knew I was going to be talking about the Blu-ray. It's a great movie. It's my favorite Batman movie. You should see it.
I also took out animated movies.
Yep.
I did limit myself to 1 per superhero.
Sure.
I like kind of what you did there, Care.
But yeah, that's my thing.
Like
look at Tim right now. If he had nunchucks in that car, like the Batmobile, and like that impervious suit, is impervious the word? You can't get shot at suit. You could be Batman. I could be Batman.
Could I be Batman? Could you be Batman?
Yeah.
Do you have the drive to be Batman?
Ben Affleck's performance in that? I think you
haven't seen Ben Affleck's performance.
Yeah, I have.
Ben Affleck's performance of Batman?
Where it's like a series of grunts and moans. I'm thinking of, what's the other guy? The other grunt moan guy.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
I am less enthusiastic about Christian Bale's performance than I used to be.
Yeah, he just is like, it's like, I could do that. I could play that role if I bulked up a little bit. I could totally do that.
No, I like what you did.
I do think that the Chris Nolan Batman films uniquely raise the question, is just having a figure like Batman in it, because like those are like not really superhero-y comic-y movies in a really specific way. So
and I also took out 1, and I'll just be straight up I'll be upfront about it right now too, because it's too soon, and that's Logan. And I'm just still, I need to let the Logan,
you gotta let it breathe,
sit a little longer.
I feel like I'm almost the opposite of that. Logan was not something I thought about for this list, but I feel like 2 years from now I might be like, well, of course Logan's the best X-Men film. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
So we will see.
I'm interested, and I doubt my list.
I'm glad you're not like firing it at me, because I legitimately believe this.
I think that's actually a definition people have proposed, is that Batman is not, Iron Man is not,
and it's a fun
because they don't have powers.
There are in comic book lore and just in discussions and debates, there are people who have those arguments about Batman.
Just a dude in a suit.
We are not going to have a power levels discussion on this podcast.
Oh my gosh, I wanted to talk about this so bad though, because I very clearly have somebody that's the most powerful and will win everything.
All right.
Well, and we'll say that. We'll end with that.
The thing is, like, one of the things that happens on the internet is people are like, well, Hulk is more powerful than Thor under these circumstances. And like, that will make me crawl out, just scratch my own eyes
I already have built my argument around this, so we'll get to that.
All right.
But I will start off with my number 5. If we're saying superheroes and not heroes, if we were saying heroes, I would have gone with Patch Adams. But because we're going with superheroes,
I think Patch Adams is a different kind of hero than Batman, regardless of what else one might have to say.
If you put Robin Williams with some nunchucks and a suit and that car, I think he could also do that job.
But also in that plot?
Maybe not.
Yeah.
But he's saving lives. He's saving lives through humor. So anyway, but I will go with my first one, which is the 2000 X-Men is my number 5.
Interesting. That's the X-Men you went with.
Directed and written by Joss Whedon.
Maybe the rest of her list is only X-Men films, because that's the only thing she didn't...
Wait, directed and written by Joss Whedon?
It is not directed by Joss Whedon.
Come on. Sorry, that's the Avengers. Right?
Yes.
It is, but...
Spoiler alert! We now know what your number 4 is as well. Directed by Bryan Singer. Joss Whedon was one of the ghostwriters on X-Men, which is probably what you're thinking
That's
of.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
He might have even actually had a credit. I shouldn't say ghostwriter.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Directed by Bryan Singer.
But X-Men for me in 2000 was innovative. That was still this magical thing where I hadn't seen any of these characters before. I wasn't a comic book junkie like probably both of you, I assume. knowing you that you are. So, yeah, I just really enjoyed the movie, and I liked the whole cast. I like the powers that they had, what they could bring. I always like when people can do weird things, like light things on fire. You know, they could burn things with their eyeballs and do all that kind of stuff. And that was the one that had what's her face in it, Halle Berry, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Love Halle Berry in that too. So.
I think you'll find that is a very contentious opinion.
Yeah, I'm not
Really?
feeling
I just
strong on the Halle
rewatched it.
Berry.
I do like X-Men.
No, I just love Halle Berry in general.
X-Men, sure. I love
Halle Berry in general. I didn't say
Halle
specifically.
Berry.
She looked good with white hair.
Yeah.
I like her. Yeah.
She does look the part.
Yeah. She's fine just standing there. She does a good job at doing
and
that.
I haven't actually seen it since 2000, so it's been a good 17 years, but I remember enjoying it when I saw it, which is why it made number 5.
No, I rewatched it just this past week. And
Not as good?
No, I like it.
Oh, it was still good?
I've never really budged in my opinion of it, which is that it is a very good, let's get the pieces set out on the board.
Is it the first ensemble, like one of the major ensemble superhero?
There aren't that many
Yeah.
There are not that many ensemble superhero groups in the first place.
Right.
So yeah, there's that. And also, I think it's a movie that really inaugurated the current superhero wave. Like, I think there is something qualitatively different about a 90s superhero film, whereas like the 2000 X-Men is still basically the kind of film we're making right now, 17 years later. So
yeah. So what is that? That doesn't make any of your number. Your
it
list?
does not.
No.
Nope. I'm a big fan of the X-Men.
Yeah, I am in fact such a big fan of the X-Men that I also put an X-Men film as my number 5, but I went with X2.
Interesting.
The sequel, for the precise reason, I think X-Men does a really good job of introducing the characters, setting up the stakes of who these characters are, but it doesn't really have a plot. And I think X2 is the film that takes the characters and does something with them, and I think it does some really, really great stuff.
Tell me, like, in 10 seconds, 10 to 30 to 40 seconds, what happens in that one again? The second one?
So the second one is the one where... Well, that's part of what I like about it. So many things happen. I'm trying to think of how to like...
This is where the president... So it's my number 2. Yeah, this is why it's. I had to limit myself to 1, and even if I didn't, I don't know if it would have made the cut. But X2, X-Men United for sure. It's the mutant assassin attempts to kill the president. So now it's like all hands on deck to get rid of mutants.
Yeah. So we meet the Brian Cox character, whose name I have suddenly forgotten, but
Colonel Riker.
Stryker.
Thank you.
So Stryker comes up with this like large scheme to kill all mutants. He has this raging hatred of mutants because his son is a mutant. And so the film has all of these little like miniature conflicts with all the different mutant characters who we met in the first film, sort of working through some of the things that were set up for them. So like Wolverine is trying to figure out what his identity is. And Rogue, the girl who can't touch anyone or she'll like steal their life energy, tries to cope with being a teenager who just has basic teenage
Is that
interests.
Anna Paquin?
That's Anna Paquin, who is so good and
really
so
good.
unappreciated in these movies. And I think it's also the film where Ian McKellen as Magneto just like totally comes into the role. So that's what I like about it, is it just has all of these little... It's a character-driven thing. Like everything that happens in it is about like, why does this character feel the way they do in this moment? How are they using their superpowers to like move through it? So it's an action movie, but it's an action movie about like very individual character beats
with, like you said, metaphors for real life situations that are individual characters, but then bigger situations.
The scene where the parents find out that their son is a mutant and the mom asks, "Have you tried not being a mutant?" is like, to me, the quintessence of the superhero as a metaphor. And it's like such a great... I think it helps that a gay man directed the movie, because like it's totally this wonderful little weird coming out scene, and it's so good.
I forgot about that's good. The scenes that stand out to me is the opening with Nightcrawler coming in, and I mean, just shot so well. Bryan Singer bringing his A game, and then the scene when the school gets infiltrated, and Wolverine just goes on goes berserker, and it's just great. So many body.
Maybe
body
I like
counts.
the second one better. Maybe I did. These are all kind of blurring together for me over time. But now that you're talking about this movie, I remember liking this one too, quite a bit.
Written by Zach Penn, and I know he's done a couple other things that I really enjoy too.
Definitely his highlight, I would say.
Well, good
so
picks.
that's your 5. So what does that make your 5, Rob?
So that's my 5. And really quick, Tim, so you said you kept to 1 per movie. So I took you for a Days of Future Past kind of...
No, X2. Definitely X2. I think Days of Future Past is very good. Probably my number 3.
Okay.
Probably would put Logan ahead of Days of Future Past.
Interesting. Okay. So number 5, Care, now with your criteria in play, I was already questioning the whole Batman thing because I also didn't want to go all in on Batman. But if I'm going with Batman, I'm going with the Dark 2008's The Dark Knight. On your list, Tim?
Not on my list.
Not on your list.
Not on my list.
If I was going to go for a hero movie with Batman, I would have gone with the one with Danny DeVito.
Oh my gosh.
And
what are you saying right
Carrie?
now? What? Now it's like two different movies.
Two different movies.
Oh.
You're doing Batman
one of them
too?
is very good and
I think
one
I
of them
don't
is
need
very
him on
bad.
this list because he's not a superhero. Good thing.
Well, it's not even that. This is, I think you were saying this, Tim, is it's almost like, does it even need to be a superhero in this movie? It's so much more crime drama and it's a dramatic movie.
And I think a crime drama that's given a lot of extra heft by having these weird, iconic, larger-than-life characters. You have Batman, you have Joker, you have a version of Two-Face. And I think it does make it more than a crime movie. Like, having the Joker in it does make it something operatic and heightened and great. So I totally am on board with that.
Are you guys more DC or I'm a Marvel person?
I'm a DC person.
You're a DC
I grew
person?
up reading DC. I still don't really know the Marvel characters other than Spider-Man really outside of the movies.
Okay.
Well, again, I'm not schooled in this kind of stuff. So the Avengers are also Marvel.
They're all Marvel?
Yes.
See, I really like Avengers quite a bit. I think I'm more Marvel-y.
And you like those type of characters. What would you say is like the difference between the universes in general? And I know we're not a comic book.
It's easier for me to strike that difference between the movie universes than the comic book universes, but I think it applies in both cases. The Marvel films and the Marvel comic books that I've read are all about human beings who have superpowers. So it's like Spider-Man is a goofy fuck-up teenager, and the X-Men are various adolescents and young adults dealing with adolescent and young adult issues, but they also can like set shit on fire. And,
Love
Tony
that.
Stark is an alcoholic, and the Hulk has rage issues, and so on and so forth. The DC films, I think, are much more about, we have killed our gods. We have proven through science that we do not, like, Zeus didn't exist, and Thor didn't exist, and all of these things. But there's a human urge to have something awesome that is bigger than we are, and I think the DC characters are that.
Yeah.
Like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, these are mythological figures.
They're supreme beings, and I think they're supposed to be inspired by humanity, right? Like, I feel like that's what So if it's really two sides of her.
So it's basically, do you care more about like character psychology, or do you care more about sort of the mythological affect?
Yeah,
I would say.
And that's why I lean more towards Marvel, the kind of the human elements.
I think we agree.
But yeah, The Dark Knight. Whether one considers Batman a superhero or not, I got his gadgets. He's got gadgets too.
It's just lots of gadgets, right?
Lots of people have gadgets.
Inspector Gadget.
So this is where
I'd say Inspector Gadget makes a more airtight case for being a superhero.
He's my number 3
because he in fact has. Is he?
Yeah.
Then we'll talk about it.
Because he has those shoes that
we'll
bounce.
talk about it later.
And Penny.
Really.
Just on its face, the movie itself is great. I almost feel like I got to whittle this down out of 4 and leave it off the list because I do like your idea that you need to have a superpower, and I'll be honest and say like I don't think that Batman has a superpower.
Yeah, if you stripped it all down, this is going to be a little bit violent, but if you stripped him all down and you shivved him, he's going to go down.
But I appreciate Nolan for
yes, but he will fight like a caged animal until he bleeds out.
Lots of people could do that.
I appreciate for Nolan for taking
Rock is a superhero. You take it back.
Nolan for taking us out of the doldrums that was everything prior to Batman Begins and actually giving hope for this DC universe because it wasn't looking great for DC for a long time.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
So yeah, I don't need it. Everybody knows this movie. I don't need to talk too much more about it. But yeah, it barely made my number
a couple
$5.
$100, right?
Yeah, it made what is it, 1.5 billion? Or 1
it
billion?
did not clear the billion club in its initial release. It is now a billion club film, but it had to be re-released for that to happen. It only made like 980 million.
Won 2 Oscars. Friends of the show, Brian and Billy the Kid, also had it listed as on their top 5s as well too. So, Carrie, are we to number 4 to you?
We are to number 4, and this is on both of your lists. I'm 100% certain of it, and I actually have the correct information for it because it's also Joss Whedon. Written and directed by Joss Whedon, is the 2012 Avengers. Huh?
Not on my list.
People.
You just took my number 1.
Oh, sorry, Rob. Well, then let me tell you about it.
Is that what you get to do?
That's what I got to do. I really love this movie. So I go to, and I'll ask you this, Tim. If you were going to put an Avengers on your list, would you put the first one? There's only one. By your face?
What?
There's only 2.
Well, there's 2.
There's 2.
Right.
Some
but then
may
there's
say
all these
3,
like
but the Civil
spin-offs,
War-
right? Because you have Thor, you have Captain America.
Like if we consider the Marvel Universe as, I think there are now 16 or 17 films, I forget how many, Avengers is like comfortably in the middle of the pack for me. I like several of the solo adventures a lot
I like
more.
group things. I like group huddles, group events. I love a story where the team has to come together to accomplish a goal in general, and that's obviously what this is. So Loki returns, and he is threatening to steal the Tesseract. Right?
Hey, nice.
So here's the thing that's happening. They all have their stones, and they're all trying to take these stones and combine the stones so that they can get it together. And then this one guy that's really bad is coming, and he's trying to just take over the world.
Well, now you've just jumped ahead to
Well,
like the
that's the
Infinity
thing.
Gauntlet.
You have correctly defined the conflict of every Marvel film for the last 8 years that we have still not resolved.
Yeah. See, the key is keeping
It's
it
very
general. The key is keeping it general enough that I can't be wrong. So yeah, that's what's happening in this, and this is where it starts off. I love there's not one character in the Avengers that I don't love. Robert Downey Jr. is my least favorite. Maybe Jeremy Renner. Actually, they're tied. Actually, I like Jeremy Renner less than Robert Downey Jr. in the first one.
I like Chris Hemsworth less than either one of them in the
Oh,
first one. I
no,
find him
you
very
don't.
off-putting.
Oh.
But you're excited about the new Thor, though.
I'm so excited
Yeah.
for the new Thor, which is a really weird feeling.
I feel him very on-putting, and I really liked Loki's character in that
Well,
too.
yeah.
He was amazing.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston's fucking great in that.
Yeah, and Scarlett Johansson, I think, plays that role perfectly. I think that's her like tough.
I like her better in Winter Soldier,
She was good in that
which
too.
is one of the movies I'd say is better than the Avengers.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. There's something to me that's really pure about like the emotion of the kickoff of something too. Like this movie got me excited. I walked out like happier and more amped
It was
up
fun.
from seeing
I mean, it was a
fun.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was infused with comedy, and Joss Whedon's and Zach Penn, I think, probably had a hand in this as well too. I think I saw his name on one of the credits as
I
well
always feel
too.
like it was a Whedon only.
It was a Whedon
feels
only?
very Whedon.
Okay.
Like the characters, the interrelationships, the dialogue all feel
But
very Whedon.
if X-Men set up the whole ensemble for superheroes, this one for me took it to a place. It's not as dark as X-Men. It's certainly lighter. I really enjoyed laughing and just having fun, lighthearted kind of jokes.
Love Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo in it, and I loved Tony Stark. This is probably one of my favorite.
This is where he was the best.
Yeah, just not shawarma at the end too. Like just so
scene.
many good scenes.
The shawarma scene's my favorite scene in that movie.
Where it was ending.
Puny
No, just the
human.
scene is a good scene.
Just kidding.
Puny human. This one is the one that has made $1.5 billion to date worldwide, I believe. Friends of the show, Pip and Patrick Thatcher, also had it on their list as well too. Yeah, it just showed me
Just
like what's
classic,
possible.
good.
What's possible.
Well done.
To have to define, not define, but to give almost equal time to so many characters to show that it's possible
And to
it can
character
be done
build
well.
across so many characters too, and to feel like you actually like each of the characters individually is hard to do.
Yeah, so that
So
was
yeah, that's-
unfortunately my number one. You just stole.
And 4 for me, so that's 4 to you.
So 4 to me happens to be the Batman film with Danny DeVito in it.
Tim!
Batman Returns, 1992.
Are you serious?
Tim Burton.
Wow.
I love it. Where he's the penguin.
He's the Penguin.
Oh.
He's this creepy little waddly fucker, and
He's awesome.
and that actually gets us to what I love about it. I thought long and hard about not putting it on the list because it is kind of a shitty Batman film, and it is therefore kind of a shitty superhero film.
What is it about it that's
it's
awesome?
a phenomenal supervillain film.
It's super,
It's so good. You've got Danny DeVito's Penguin.
Is
You've
Uma
got,
Thurman in that one?
That's the one with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, Michelle Pfeiffer,
Michelle
who-
Pfeiffer's
yes,
Catwoman,
yes.
who's like maybe the best character
I
in
love
superhero
Michelle
movies.
Pfeiffer. Yes,
is
yes,
Michelle
yes.
Pfeiffer's Catwoman. And I'm just like, I'm on board with the DC is more about sort of a larger than life iconic figures, and you have these amazing, like, gigantic caricature villains. And like
They're
Catwoman
in the
is-
sewers,
and they're in the
and they're, like,
sewers.
it's so
it's just-
dark and-
it's so over the top, and it's so like in love with its own design and in love with its own like attitude of sort of garish gothic weirdness. And I just like, I love it. It is much more a Tim Burton film than a Batman film, and that is the reason I thought maybe I should disqualify it, but I wasn't going to put that 89 Batman on. That would be silly. But yeah, just like, I love it for the just total, like the totalizing quality of its design, working with its acting, working with its writing, working with a really, really fabulous Danny Elfman score to just sort of create this really heightened mood around these wonderfully colorful characters. And again, not Batman, but the two villains. Even like the little villain, even like the Christopher Walken villain is like so
Max
good.
Schreck.
Max Schreck.
So just to be sure, so I'm getting this right. This is your favorite live action Batman.
Oh.
Super. Right?
Right.
Yeah. Good for you.
I told you we were going to have
Good
to do
for
a little
you.
bit of a massage.
That's interesting.
So the massage hasn't come yet.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to massage my rules a little bit.
All right.
So
we'll see whatever that means. Right now, it's feeling a little weird in the room.
It
But
means that Rob
apparently there are massages being
would you
doled
like
out.
a massage?
that's right. We'll get to that as we move. Is it to my number 3?
No, it's my number 4.
Oh, sorry.
If you do, please.
Oh, didn't we already go through your entire top 5?
Yeah.
Seems like you guys have it well covered. Again, this is where I thought the sequel did a better job than the original. I'm talking about Spider-Man 2, 2004 Spider-Man 2. Nothing?
No.
I like it. It's a great movie. I just rewatched it today, in fact.
Okay. Do you guys feel Spider-Man 2 better than the original?
Nope.
No.
Really?
I like
Absolutely
Spider-Man 1
not.
better.
Darn.
I did
All right.
too.
Well, 2 hours, 7 minutes, 7.3 on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes, 94%, directed by Sam Raimi, which I forget that Sam did The Quick and the Dead and A Simple Plan.
You want to know
I
what
love
else?
that those are the first 2 Sam Raimi films.
No,
Wait, what was
I
the-
had
wait.
Evil Dead first, but I knew.
Okay.
I
Wait,
knew
what was
he
the
did
second
that.
one you said?
The Quick and the Dead.
No, but what was the second
Simple
movie?
Plan.
Simple Plan.
You know what else he did? You know how I do that thing where I look at Rob and I'm expecting him to read my mind, and sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. There's this one movie where I keep being like, "Hey, we're the lady."
Drag Me to Hell.
Drag Me to Hell.
Drag Me to Hell.
I finally figured out Sam Raimi.
That is a Sam Raimi feeling movie. The other 2, Quick and the Dead and Simple Plan, like I don't get like the Sam
feel
Raimi
like-
vibe.
I mean, I get the vibe, but it's bad
Yeah.
from Quick and the Dead. I Simple Plan, not so much, but like the Quick and the Dead is a bad Sam Raimi film.
I think what I like about Spider-Man 2, and this is where it's Doc Ock.
Sure.
It's Alfred Molina playing
Such a good
Doc Ock.
performance.
There are so many great individual scenes in here that maybe some other parts don't make a great movie, but I really love the scenes. Anything with Doc Ock, the train, him on the
Is
train.
Doc Ock the octopus man?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the
Well,
scene
he's a human man, but he has
That metal
octopus leg.
octopus
where
leg thing.
the car is being flipped into the restaurant where he's eating with Kirsten Dunst. He gets his spider sense tingles, and then he kind of like flips through, and then the whole scene on the train, the entire scene on the train where
It's a train scene in every Spider-Man.
No,
This is the train scene.
This is the train scene.
Is this the one where he stops the train? That happens in the
stops the
first
train.
one, I thought,
Nope,
too.
second one.
Oh, I thought that is a good scene.
I'm gonna lay it right out there. I think Spider-Man 2 has the best action scenes of any comic book movie ever.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it stood out to me. Oh, come on. That's
Well, I know that you're going to go to bat for Inspector Gadget.
Yo, I will.
But then at the end, too, the people of New York picking him up after he's completely drained himself trying to stop this train, and picking him up and carrying him and putting his mask back on, I think it was.
Handing him back
his mask, like classy, like very classy. I love this movie.
It's a great movie.
And my
I'm
list,
not going to say it's not great. I just love the other one more.
I don't know how you ordered your lists, like in like favorite movie, but for me it's one like if I see it on, like I want to watch, like which movies do I want to just like go towards. It
Sure.
may not even be my favorite movie, but it's the one where if it's on TBS or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, I'll watch this right now. Like I'll check in on that scene. I want to rewatch that scene over and over again. So that was my number 4, Spider-Man 2.
Sure.
Number
All right,
3.
now Go Gadget Copter.
All right.
Wait, you're serious?
No, I'm not
Okay.
serious. However, if I had thought of it, maybe I would have, because again, he can just fly away from any
Well, that's the
situation.
thing. He is legit a superhero. He is a cyborg.
He is
He has
totally.
innate powers.
Exactly.
He's a better superhero than Batman.
So if the Hulk was coming after him, he would Go Gadget Copter. He'd be gone. The Hulk could never get him because he can't jump that high.
And we don't know how many things he can go Gadget. He might have like a go Gadget Hulk stopper.
Totally.
And who knows what
like
it would
Go
be.
Gadget fist. He's got this thing, and it's
got-
bigger than the Hulk's fist when it pops out of his jacket. Yeah.
So here's my question. Why isn't it your number 3?
Because I didn't think of it.
Damn it.
But if I had,
And I
I
don't
feel
think
bad.
you've seen the Matthew Broderick Inspector Gadget, have you?
Oh, I'm talking the cartoons with
Oh,
Penny.
okay. Fair enough.
And Splinter. No, not Splinter.
Like, where have we gone?
Wait.
Dr. Claw?
Dr. Claw.
Dr.
Thank you,
Claw.
with his cat. See, that's another
He's a
reason.
great
Yeah.
character.
So, but my number 3 is a movie that you guys have both said is not on yours. And I don't care. It's the 2017 Logan is my number 3.
Nice.
Loved it. I did. So I let it breathe long enough. I purposely didn't also put Wonder Woman on here because I do need to let that one breathe. Logan, I've let it breathe, and it still makes it on here. I loved everything about this movie. It's written and directed by James Mangold. It stars Hugh Jackman.
It sure does.
It's so good. As an
Weather
old Hugh Jackman.
beaten up ass Hugh Jackman.
Really bad. Patrick Stewart, also really old. And then Daphne Keene's a little girl.
Yep.
We've talked about this before, right when it came out too, because we saw it in theaters, and it's a wary old Logan going out to try and protect Professor X, and I love the relationship that he has with him. Like, he will do everything to protect him, and I love a story like that. And he meets a Daphne Keane, who is also a young Wolverine herself. Is
basically a Wolverine clone?
Wolverine clone.
She's taken from his DNA.
Yeah, and she is just amazing. That whole storyline was amazing, and we were, both of us, Rob and I, were both like just clutching our faces the entire movie. We both walked out with a smile, like both a smile and a grimace on our face, because it was a hard movie to watch, but also amazing to watch. The humor, everything was balanced in this movie for me, and it will be a movie that I will re-see again and that I won't forget.
Yeah. And kudos to James for breaking the mold. I mean, I know I have Avengers #1, and this is why I might even, let Logan out of superhero movies. It's not a quintessential like superhero movie. It is a modern Western with a superhero in it, much like Batman is a crime drama with a superhero in it. It's like, it's not a superhero movie necessarily, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe is building up these kind of like plug in any director kind of thing, and to stick within the rules. DC, same thing. So to break that mold, like I love that. I love it so much. But is it a superhero movie, or is it? It still is to me, and it would be #1 to me if I
he
allowed
has uranium claws, or what are they?
You're right. That would be sweet.
He has Uranus claws.
Plutonium claws.
Plutonium. I knew it was a metal.
Adamantium.
Oh, adamantium.
It's a fake metal.
It's a fake metal, but it meets the criteria of being superhero. This isn't. I mean, not everyone has adamantium claws,
or the ability to always heal, which is an important,
which is a huge
and like
one.
it's even like germane to the plot, because the whole plot is like, aging. At long last he can't, and like what does that mean?
I know, so good. So anyway, that's my #3.
And I will say I think it's a great movie, and I think it's like the best case scenario for what having all of these shared universe and 10,000 film long franchises. We've built up such a relationship with this character since 2000. And like that pays off in this film.
I agree.
We feel so much.
You want
the weight
him
of
so much to
what
win.
Happens.
Yes. Yeah. I felt sick
because he's this character we've like grown old with in a weird way.
Yeah. So. Totally agreed. So that's why it's 3.
Totally.
Which takes that to your 3.
So my 3 is in fact Spider-Man 1.
Wow.
I love it. I love a Spider-Man 2. I love Spider-Man 1 just a little bit more. It is a comic book movie. And here's how I ranked mine. How much does this movie give me the feeling of reading a comic book? And Spider-Man 1 is, to me, the one 21st century comic book movie that feels like it was made by somebody who grew up reading comic book movies, loved them, and wanted to translate that experience into film. The compositions, the way that the character interactions happen, the colors, the just like sense of pure joy. Like, it's such a Silver Age, like Spider-Man's cool but funny but also kind of stupid and a fuck up, but also is always going to save the day. And it just has that like very gleeful sense. Like, I can hear 10-year-old Sam Raimi telling me the plot of this movie and getting more and more animated. I think as much as I love Alfred Molina in Spider-Man 2, I do slightly like Willem Dafoe more. And I think that's just because I like Willem Dafoe more, but also I think he's a really great like psychopath, but also doesn't realize that he's a psychopath, and that dynamic's really interesting.
It's my #2.
There you go. So,
I know.
So I'll throw it over to you. Do you want to talk about it a little
bit?
It
has the element, so it has Toby, and it has Toby. That brings it up. The kiss.
The
of
kiss.
All kisses.
That's a good
one of the great scenes in popcorn movies.
Ever.
Period.
And it actually did make my top 5 date movies many months ago when we did that episode, because there was nothing that left me. A movie like this, superhero / that scene, that's all you need in a date movie. Yep. You're walking out and you're like, I didn't want to hold your hand before, but I will now, like after seeing this movie. And I loved everything about it. What was the other thing about it and the other thing was it met my criteria because the webs come out of his skin.
Well, even if that doesn't happen, he still has the super like strength and the ability to climb walls and stuff. Yeah. So he's still a super.
I like that they developed that story too. I feel like that was all just sort of like not elaborated in the one we just saw in theaters on. It was just there. And this one, I felt like I understood how he grew and developed. And I love an origin too.
Talking about Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 just makes me even think much less of Spider-Man. Yeah, this latest installment.
Well, we can talk about Amazing Spider-Man 2 if you want. Remember how they had the rhino in the last scene for no good goddamn reason?
Oh yeah. Or we can talk about Spider-Man 3 too.
I'm a little bit of a defender.
Are you?
Is that where there's a dark Spider-Man?
There's dark Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I like Topher Grace, so I would probably defend it a little bit.
I think it gets too much shit.
So that was my 2.
Good picks. And 1 or 2 narrowly, just by just the skinniest of margins, to me beats out 1. But it's right there, too.
Yeah, I mean, to me, they're both 4.5-star movies.
Yeah.
So does that? I don't even know
all
where
I'm
we
left
are.
is with number 3.
I have
That's
my
all I got
1.
left.
You have your 3.
So it's the 3 to you, Rob.
All right, 3 to me. And this is the movie, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, I believe that kicked off the Marvel Cinematic Universe, maybe before they even thought that they were going to. I'm talking about 2008's Iron Man.
It is, and they certainly knew that they wanted to.
Yeah.
Whether they knew it would succeed or not, who can say?
And I just remember seeing this and being like, wow. And this is a movie where, again, it starts off more of it doesn't qualify, I don't think, based on yours. But I do think a super suit.
Wealthy man in a suit doesn't count.
But
what about a wealthy man whose body is full of poisonous metal that will kill him if he doesn't use his magnet to suck it out of his body?
It helps. It helps for sure.
He's got basically like a supercharged battery.
He's like shrapnel in there, right?
No, he's got like a...
No, he's got shrapnel, and then the thing keeps it away from his heart.
Right, but it also charges everything. He charges the suit.
But the reason he had to install it was because it keeps the shrapnel away from his bloodstream.
Yeah.
Nope, doesn't count.
Does not count. The opening of this and him being
what about he's a Superman slut?
That also helps.
All right.
That helps, but still doesn't count.
All right.
Being an asshole billionaire, taken down a notch. Obviously he behind that facade, he's a lot more to that. And then to see that kind of play out in that first act where he's in, where is he? In the Middle East somewhere? I don't remember exactly. I wanted to say Afghanistan, but and the relationship he forms with that fellow inventor, and then them just tooling around in kind of the prototype of what becomes the Iron Man suit. Love it. Jeff Bridges in this is great. I really love this movie. Jon Favreau really showing his stuff since he's gone on to do Jungle Book. I think Elf came after.
No, Elf preceded.
Or preceded? Okay. So again, I really like this movie.
Yeah. I mean, it is in my top 3 of the Marvel movies, alongside the first Guardians of the Galaxy and the first Captain America. I do think that the first hour's better. I think it's weird. It gets a little worse when he actually becomes Iron Man.
I agree. That the human elements, when it's just him dealing with himself and having to, again, being humanized by having this relationship one-on-one and the jokes. But it really did set the tone about the comedy that a lot of the other Marvel movies would have since this one too.
Also set the tone for having wildly uninteresting and forgettable villains that most future Marvel movies would have.
Yeah.
Played by Jeff Bridges, which is a tremendous waste of a great actor.
Yeah.
But even so, I like the movie a lot. I don't want to act like I'm talking shit about Iron Man.
No, also friend of the show, Alex Frith had this one on his list as well too. So I'm out. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Where
that's
are you
right.
at?
So I have both my number 1 and 2
So you
remain,
go 2, because I only have 1.
2.
You're going to take my 1.
I am not.
Okay.
I doubt it. So I said I was going to massage the rules a little bit, and it's because I had so many Batman movies that I love so much. I couldn't bring myself to only pick one Batman movie. So I picked one Batman movie per series of Batman movies.
Oh, man.
And that is why my number 2 is 2005's Batman Begins.
Interesting.
Which is, I think, better than The Dark Knight.
You have to classify them by who is Batman in that movie.
This is a Christian Bale Batman movie.
Bale, the grunter.
Origin story.
Right.
It's the origin story. And again, it gets to the whole thing I like about DC films. It's about how is Batman more than just dude in a suit who punches bad guys? How is Batman an idea? How is he this sort of mythological construct who is built to tell stories within this space? Like he is the idea of fear. He is the idea of instilling fear into villains and beating them through psychology. So it's about how is Batman not just Bruce Wayne? How is Batman, like this large cultural event? That plus the fact that I think it's this perfect mix of looking like Gotham City as a real place, but also as this sort of dreamy expressionist nightmare. That is one of the only problems I have with The Dark Knight. It is a movie that is set in Chicago. They can call Chicago Gotham, but it's a movie that's set in Chicago. And I feel like Batman Begins takes place in Gotham.
I feel like I've been conditioned to want to like Dark Knight, more than Batman Begins. But I feel what you're saying. And I do like Batman Begins.
Nothing in Begins can compete with Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend that anything in that movie is as good as Heath Ledger's Joker.
But Ra's al Ghul,
Ra's al Ghul, and Scarecrow, played by Cillian Murphy, who I always love and everything. Yeah, I think it's a great, just overwhelming, epic, beautiful, like realist, but not too realist. And yeah, and at that point, I still really liked Christian Bale as a Batman. I think he got a little bit more cartoonishly gruff as the series went on, but still really good in Begins.
Yeah.
So you're left with your number one.
No, we might match up. You think?
I am sure I know what your number one is, and we do not match up.
What is it?
Is it a animated film?
No.
It's not. Then I'm wrong.
No. It's an oldie, but a goodie, too.
We might match up.
Is yours from 1978?
Mine is from 1978.
Superman?
Wow.
The only Superman, in my opinion, is the 1978 Superman. The only thing that came after that for me was Lois and Clark. Okay. Which is the TV show.
We agree on Superman, so I want to keep that vibe going.
Let's keep going with that. So, directed by Richard Donner, who also did The Goonies, Lethal Weapon. He's 87 years old right now.
Jeez.
I know. He's kind of old, but still rocking it. Written by Jerry Siegel. This is the original of all originals for Superman, and it was everything about, I mean, I've seen it so many times, and I know that there's so many effects that wouldn't be great today, but Christopher Reeve, Gene Hackman's in it. He plays Lex Luthor. Marlon Brando's in it. Is it Margot Kidder?
It's Margot Kidder plays Lois Lane, and
Lois Lane.
Cannot fathom a better Lois Lane than Margot
Absolutely
Kidder.
Not. And I believe, their love, the chemistry there was just so believable and awesome. So this is the original origin story then of when Kal-El gets sent by his father Jor-El. I'm really bad with all this, so just jump in on me, Tim. To live among mankind on Earth, because I guess his planet's getting destroyed.
Yes.
Right. So Krypton. Right. So then he comes and he goes and he stays with Jonathan and Martha Kent, and he becomes Clark Kent. And it's the story of then he starts working at the Daily Planet, his relationship with the co-reporter Lois Lane, and then he has to take on the evil Lex Luthor, like we know from all of the stories that follow and movies that follow and TV shows that follow. I loved Smallville. I loved that too, actually. But anyway, I'm just a Superman fan. And he, to me, is the ultimate
Well, he totally
superhero.
is. He is the ultimate superhero. And I think what I love about the first movie, it gets back to what I was saying with the Spider-Mans. It is a movie that feels like a comic book. It has that sort of goofball logic that it's not afraid to embrace. I think Christopher Reeve's performance is just unbelievably important. He manages to make me believe that, yes, Clark Kent could potentially convince people that he wasn't Superman, because he plays Clark Kent in such a appealing, committed way that feels different from the way he plays Superman.
100%.
And I love the energy. I love the lightness. It is a movie that is about fun.
Yeah.
And I think even the most lighthearted comic book movies anymore still can't really do that without it feeling sort of forced and fake, and it totally feels just so organic in the first Superman.
And it holds up. It's a movie that holds up even today. Again, minus maybe some effects, and maybe he doesn't look like he's flying. And how did he fly back then?
Just blue screen.
How it was?
If I'm not mistaken. And it has one of the all-time great scores. The John Williams Superman motif is just. Do
you want to sing it?
No.
Sing it.
That absinthe isn't that strong?
It's not that strong. It doesn't have lyrics, so I'd have to hum it. And
That's true.
I'm not going to do that.
Do. No, that's
Indiana Jones.
We get this wrong. But both Hans Zimmer, right? No?
I will punch you in the nose.
No? Indiana Jones, not Hans Zimmer?
John Williams.
Sorry, not Hans Zimmer. I got Nicky G stuck in my head for a friend from college. No, but both Hans Zimmer scores.
Yeah.
They're both John Williams.
He's saying Hans Zimmer.
Stop talking about Hans Zimmer.
The absinthe is working for somebody.
He is a pimple on the ass of John Williams.
Pimple. Gross. I've got a bad
but nice thing
picture.
too about Superman too, bringing in really, it's hard to say modern, but it's the modern superhero movie. There wasn't a whole lot. Everything else.
Prior to that, we have TV. We have a couple serials. There were 2 Batman serials, 1 Superman serial. There's a Superman TV show. There was, of course, the Adam West Batman. There were some really crappy cartoons in the 70s. But that was what legitimized superheroes as a thing we could do in movies and be sincere about it.
Yep.
Great picks, guys. And you lined up on number one.
Lined up on number one. It's a very exciting moment.
This is awesome. So this leads me to my final question before we close out, which is, who would win? In head-to-head, you end up in the Coliseum. You're having a battle. Who wins?
Out of all the superheroes ever?
Every superhero ever. And you can't pick Inspector Gadget.
Damn it. I was going to pick Inspector Gadget.
Who is it, Rob? Who is it?
Mark Wahlberg from the Transformers series apparently ends up on top quite a bit. No, I'm just joking.
Jesus.
Who is it?
Would win.
Other than Jesus.
Jesus would win.
So in all seriousness.
Well, I don't feel like Jesus would support what you just said.
He wouldn't be happy, but you know what? He's not here to talk about it. Or is he here? I guess is he everywhere? I don't know. Anyway.
Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, pretty powerful guy. I don't
want you to hem and haw. Just the first thing that comes to your head.
Incredible Hulk for me is always
Superman
been my guy.
Incredible Hulk.
Superman.
I know he does in the comic books.
He will fly away.
Incredible Hulk can jump really high.
So all he has to do is fly up in the high and use his laser beam eyes and he laser beams him.
The full potential of Hulk's strength has never been realized because he's equally strong to as angry as he gets. So you just keep getting him upset.
But he still is never going to be able to fly.
Doesn't need to fly. Jumps that high.
He can't jump as high as Superman can fly.
He can get up there.
Superman goes into outer space.
Moral authority on his side.
That's true.
Because Superman
is not just all powerful. Superman is all good.
And that trumps everything. We'll end there.
We'll end there where I don't get a chance to chime in.
Yes.
Perfect.
Best possible episode.
That's what Superman wins.
Well, other than me not being able to chime in every episode, we also randomly select one member of our audience who share their top movie picks. Based on those selections, they get a free movie rental. So excited for that person. But first, we'll do our audience top 5. I think this again was we keep breaking records of number of write-ins. People very passionate about their superhero movies. The top 5 had some ties. So tied for number 5, we have X-Men Days of Future Past, tied with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, nice.
Right. Are aliens superheroes, Care?
It depends.
I guess technically Superman is
an alien.
So how does
aliens
that work?
Count? Yeah, aliens are fine.
Aliens count?
If you have a superpower. If you're just a run-of-the-mill alien, no.
He only has superpowers on Earth.
But he's on Earth.
Yeah, but that's where he is.
He can also fly through space without having to breathe, so I think it doesn't matter whether he is.
Yeah. As long as there's a yellow sun somewhere there.
He's able to leap tall buildings with a single bomb.
All right. Tied for 4th, 2 Batmans. Batman Begins and Batman Mask of the Phantasm. So nice. Tied for 3rd, Spider-Man 2. Woohoo! And really? Logan. Nice. Nicely done. Tied for 2nd, we have your guys' pick, Superman the movie, and my pick, The Dark Knight.
Oh, really? So Spider-Man 1 didn't make it on the top 5?
Spider-Man 1 did not make it. And then first, because I guess they're not playing by the same rules that we were, it's an animated feature. It's The Incredibles, as it should be. It's a great It is a great movie.
If I was not disqualifying it mostly for the sake of disqualifying it, it would have definitely made my list.
And I'm going to butcher our this week's winner. It's Helvathor John Gosmundsson. Who's
butchered the name, not.
What did I say?
You said you're going to butcher them.
I'm gonna find him.
Please don't do that.
I'm gonna find him.
That's right.
And we're gonna take care of business.
Oh, he's a long time reader.
I don't want to pay out on this Amazon rental, guys.
We like him. He's a good.
He's a frequent contributor to the site. Helvathor had selected Superman the movie, Blade.
Good on you.
Batman Begins, The Crow, and Logan. So very much in alignment with you, Tim.
I had Logan.
Helvathor, and you as well. A couple on with you. Shoot us an email.
More in line, I'd say, with Carrie than with me.
We had Batman. Oh yeah, that's true. Two compared to your one. You're right. Helvathor, shoot us an email at contact@alternatending.com for details on how to claim your free movie rental. If you want to win a free movie like Helvathor, be on the lookout for a spoiler alert or top 5 movie posts on Facebook and Twitter to share your favorite picks. In closing, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Check us out on social media. Go out to Facebook, like us, Twitter, retweet us, alternatending.com for all of our movie reviews, podcasts, and blogs. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Google or wherever you may find podcast. And tune in for our next episode where we'll be doing our, I guess, a spoiler alert. Planet of the Apes comes out soon, right?
So War for the Planet of the Apes comes out, so we're going to take a look at Rise of the and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
And we're not doing the full series.
We're not doing the full series. That would be just too much.
It got a little crazy there with Alien, even just trying to get all those in. So we're keeping it somewhat with the ability to be able to watch that many in a single week. So it should be good stuff, and we'll catch you then.